Hallo, willkommen zurück zum Straßensprechen mit Kate. Heute ist in meinem lieben Freitag, der 25. Oktober 2025. Again, I'll stop talking to you guys in gibberish because I'm pretty sure not a single one of you understands what I'm saying outside of watching the videos before and obviously know what I say in my intro. But welcome back to the second episode of now a 4-part series on my first solo adventure throughout Europe. This episode carries us through my travels of Salzburg, Austria, and my first night in Vienna. The second leg of my adventure started chaotically at 8 a.m. on Monday, September 29th, 2025. Considering my discussions around sleep in the past episode, I couldn't believe that I'd slept as long as I did, uninterrupted. I quickly got ready for my day. Then I walked with my luggage down to the train station to ride my 2 stops to the Munich Hauptbahnhof. From there, I would get on an international train heading east to the city of Salzburg, Austria. To start the last paragraph, I said that it was a chaotic start. I was completely out of it from the fun I had the night before, and pairing it with the fact of how long I slept. I roughly spent an hour walking in circles around the train station. The first order of business was to exchange the US cash I brought for euros, which I was able to successfully do now that the cash exchange was open, because it was a business day. The second order of business was to find something to drink, because the 5 steins of beer I had the night before had me feeling sucked dry. At the time, I didn't really feel that hungover. I just felt really dehydrated. I found the biggest water bottle possible, and also grabbed an Apfelstruke, which was basically a powdered sugar apple fritter, which I ate once I boarded the train. That was the final objective in the train station, figuring out how to get out of the subway part of the station and find the long-distance trains, which took me a lot longer than it should have. For my excuse, I was also at the same time looking for a way to buy a ticket in person for one of those trains, which I never did find. When it comes to the subway tickets, there are kiosks literally everywhere for you to buy tickets for your travels. But I guess it's just not the same for the long-distance trains, or I wasn't looking in the right spot. We'll never know because I'm not there anymore. Once I had found the correct platform for the train, the next objective was that ticket, the one I couldn't find a place to acquire in person. So I went on my phone again, trying to figure this out. I reserved a seat on the train, leaving in 15 minutes for Salzburg. Then another seat for the evening train from Salzburg to Vienna, for a grand total of €6. What a steal, right? I thought so too. After acquiring my seats on the train, it felt good to sit on the platform for 15 minutes and just let my head rest for a little bit. This is where I had the first bites of my Apfelstruke that I mentioned earlier. A nice little treat to ease me out of my morning struggles. Once on the train, I found my reserved seat and settled in for my ride. About 30 minutes into the trek, the ticket lady came around to scan tickets. She asked me to present mine. What I presented her was the seat reservations that I paid for, as everyone else in their section had actual physical tickets to scan. I realized that I royally fucked this one up. I thought the €6 I spent seemed rather cheap for such a far ride, but I don't know, what do I know? What I bought off the website was only the reservation for the ride, but I never bought a ticket to be on the train. Which still doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Like, how could I possibly reserve a seat without having a ticket yet? It's all beyond me, and it doesn't matter anymore. Very unfortunate events when you're sitting on a train, and this lady's looking at you very upset. She gave me a pass because, after all, I am a stupid American, and this was my first time ever on a train like this. She told me she'd come back around and to just buy one on my phone. Where I found out I did use the correct website where I reserved the seats for the train. I just never bought a ticket. So I correctly bought a ticket for the next station we'd stop at and then scanned it, went about my day, and there was no issues after that. Looking back at it, I still can't believe I was a stowaway on a train crossing borders through Europe. After arriving in Salzburg, I left the train station, walked 2 blocks over to the hostel owned by the same company I stayed in the 2 nights before. They nicely let me store my belongings in their luggage room for free, so I could go about my adventures of that day. From the hostel, I boarded the 8:40 bus from Salzburg Hauptbahnhof to the small village Berchtesgaden. A pleasant ride to the German Alps, taking in a mountain range different than anything I'd ever seen before. Towering cliffs shooting straight up out of luscious green meadows below, so incredibly steep that nothing could possibly grow on the sides of them. Truly a remarkable land formation that left me in awe. So different from the Rockies I grew up going to, not even in the same conversation as the mountains I currently live in. With the monstrous mountains came these adorable little houses and villages dotting the meadows. Villages I've seen many pictures of, but so much more comforting when you see them in person. By this time in the episode, all of you are probably asking at this point, where the hell was this kid going? Well, after more bus rides, I arrived at a tunnel. At the end of that tunnel was a golden elevator, something very much out of a supervillain lair in a movie. At the top of that elevator sat the Kielstein House, in English, Hitler's Eagle's Nest, my second World War II destination of the trip. The Kielstein House was built from 1937 to 1939, where it was inaugurated as Hitler's palace in the sky as a birthday present. During its use by the Nazis, it served as a place for the most elite of the party, hosting weddings, events, and special guests to show the power and dominance of the new German power, a fortress in the sky towering over the land it now presides. For me, my interest stemmed more from the American capturing of the Kielstein House by the Allied forces. For anyone that has ever seen the show Band of Brothers, this was the place of supreme victory over Germany, where the men of the 101st Airborne bathed in the sun and celebrated the end of the war they fought so hard in. Today, the building is used as a restaurant, beer garden, and tourist destination. For me, it was also a place of victory, as this was the day on my trip where I felt much more comfortable speaking in German when it came to ordering my ticket to the Eagle's Nest, or ordering dinner at the restaurant up there. I was able to get through everything in German without feeling weird about it, so that really felt great in the moment. For dinner in the sky, I had Linsentopf mit Würstel und Brot, which is basically pea soup with sausage in it and a side of bread. For the remote location I found myself in, I thought the meal to be rather splendid, as I watched the rain come down from the clouds we were in. After dinner, it was time to ride the golden elevator down to the buses, which then I rode the 1.5 hours bus route back to the train station, regained my belongings, bought the ticket from Salzburg to Vienna, in a kiosk machine, just like the ones in the subway in Munich. I don't know, my hands are off. I'm not going to ask any more questions than I have to, but I was able to buy this ticket out of a machine, hop on the train, and have no issues for the rest of my ride. Where then I rode through the darkness of night, arriving in the city of Vienna, a little after 10 p.m. Exiting the train station, I was hungry again, so I got a brat from one of the shops above the subway. This beautiful foot-long sausage was slid into a holdout loaf of bread, a much better eating experience, something that I will be picking up and using moving forward when it comes to me making my own sandwiches. None of the contents fall out when there's no hole or side that's cut open, just simply genius in my humble opinion, and a phenomenal welcome to town. I ate the brat as I rode the tram to my hotel for the night, which was actually an apartment building that was refitted for short-term stays. I was very excited to sleep in a private room for the first time on my trip. One note from when I do this travel again, that first night I will always be getting a private room. It just, I think, will help a lot in the long term of me adjusting to time zones and stuff like that, and that's something you learn along the way. This apartment building was 2 blocks off the tram stop. From the outside of the building, I stood there with my belongings, not sure how to get in as all the doors were locked. I attempted to call the location and then tried to call to Expedia because the number for the location no longer worked. I again had no confirmation on my stay. As I stood out in the cold, dark night, in a town unfamiliar to me, it quickly became apparent this was not going to be where I slept tonight. I waited a bit longer, but after 3 guys on 2 mopeds sketched me out, I thought they were trying to rob me. They were not, and they made it very clear they were not. They just, for some reason, decided to hop off their mopeds and then get back on them while right in front of me when there's literally nobody else around. That was the only time I was ever scared on the trip, so just wanted to throw that fun part in there. At this moment, I want to revert back to last episode, where I mentioned I was not sure if I had a room or not. Well, I won the first toss of the coin. I definitely lost that second one. This is how life goes when you live on a whim, though. To revert back even further than last episode, I booked my original hotel for Vienna in June. In July, I got a call from Expedia saying that they could not award that stay because they will be doing remodeling during that time. So this is the second stay that was set up for me by an agent at Expedia. So they really dropped the ball considering nobody ever contacted me that I wasn't going to be able to stay here. That night, after realizing that I was not going to be staying there, I went on my phone and booked a hotel not too far away. In the morning, I woke up to a message from the apartment owner letting me know that they'd stopped their Expedia service on September 1st. Again, how does the person at the apartment building not cancel all of those requests to stay, as well as how does Expedia not contact me about that? But the hands are off. The world may never know. Pretty fucked up if you think about it. Nobody contacted me, and I'm over it now. Maybe. You can probably tell I'm still a little bit upset about it. That comes with the territory of the world I live in. As stated at the start, I was originally going to make this adventure a 3-part series. As this day has filled up a full 10-minute episode, we're going to extend this to 4 parts, because I want to give the right amount of time to my time in Vienna beyond that first night there. And then the finale will be my experience at Oktoberfest and my reflection of the trip as a whole. I will leave you here on the morning September 30th, as you will await my upcoming adventures in Wien, Österreich. As always, thank you for listening. I love you. Bye.